Hello and welcome to my review of the Aethon Heavy Sentinel for Solar Auxilia for Warhammer, the Horus Heresy. One of these models will cost you £37, or if you can still pick up that Solar Auxilia battle group, it is included in that box set. It consists of 75 plastic components. Format of this review is as normal. I will have a look at the model up close. I'll go through how easy it was to build. Then I'll show you some spare parts, of which I've kind of used all of them, so there aren't any if you do build everything as required. Then I'll go through some size comparisons with the Storm Sentinels. Then I will go through all of its rules, which can be found either in the instruction guide of the Solar Auxilia battle group or in the Battle for Beta Garmin campaign book. You will not find the rules for this Aethon Sentinel in the Liber Imperium book, which is just one of those things with a brand new miniature, brand new unit. So let's have a look at this Heavy Sentinel up close. It's bigger than I expected it to be. It's of course £3 cheaper than a pair of Hermes Light Sentinels. I'm not sure why I called them Storm Sentinels. You get a number of dorsal guns. I've equipped mine with a Volkite culverin, but you can also equip it with... You have access to 6 different dorsal guns. I've equipped mine with a Volkite culverin, but you also have access to an autocannon, heavy incinerator, las cannon, multi-laser or melter lance. And then you've got a set of 2 paired ordnance weapon systems on its sides, either the Aethon missile battery, which I've equipped mine with, or a set of 4 hunter-killer missiles. I haven't glued either of the weapons. I've sort of white-tacked the ordnance systems. You could magnetize them, no issue there, and it's up to you whether you want to magnetize this dorsal weapon, because it fits on quite well and it sort of stays in place. And I've actually built all of the other weapons to show you. So here's the Volkite. We've got the melter lance, which I think the longer the weapon, the less of a traversal it goes on the dorsal there, dorsal mount. We've got the multi-laser. And what's nice is the design of this, the kind of dorsal bracket, it moves in there, so it means that you can effortlessly raise and lower the angle that the weapon's facing, which is a nice feature. You've got the heavy flamer. Not sure why you'd go for this, but yeah, you've got the heavy flamer if you want to do that. Then you've got the autocannon, which looks all right. But again, not much of a traversal at all with the autocannon, probably the worst one. You've got the las cannon, which I suspect most people will go for, las cannon and hunter-killer missiles. With my second one, because I have 2 of those battle group boxes, I'll go for the las cannon and the hunter-killer missiles, just to give more sort of anti-space marine, anti-tank weaponry. And speaking of which, here are the hunter-killer missiles. So as I say, I've white tacked them on. They don't fit in there quite snugly, so you are going to have to magnetize them if you want to hot swap them out. They won't just rest in there like the dorsal weapon. So yeah, that's what the hunter-killer missile looks like if you didn't want to go for the Aethon missiles. And also another thing is they have like notches on this plug and socket kind of system, so you either have them that way or that way. My best advice is to get rid of those notches, and then you've got freedom of sort of movement of the angle, the trajectory of them, so you can get them in just the right angle if you wanted to glue them in. I think I might do that with mine, but I think I'll probably leave the dorsal weapon unglued, unmagnetized, because then what I could do is have one with the Aethon missiles, one with the hunter-killer missiles, and then, you know, with the second one I could have them both equipped with the melters or both equipped with the las cannon, you know, the same weaponry. But apart from that, and me talking at length about the weapon systems and options and things, it's a nice kit to build. Very fun. I built it quicker than I expected, I didn't find it a chore like I do with the Contemptor Dreadnoughts for Space Marines. The feet are good, the pistons are fine, the legs, the chassis, the kind of armoured container. I was mildly surprised with this kit. Oh, I've got some gaps there that I'm going to have to sort out and file down, but I just realised that. You've got the exhausts, you've got the top hatch as well. I guess this opens at the front too. Maybe there's the engine heatsink type thing. But yeah, it's yeah, pleasantly surprised with this one. I'm looking forward to building the next one. So there's no real reason to go through the spare parts, because as I've just shown you, you know, these weapons are its spare parts. You don't get any extra spare parts than this. I would have liked to have seen some kind of antenna or comms transmitter or something that the other smaller Sentinels have, but you know, for whatever reason, they don't have these on these heavy Sentinels. So what this means is we can stomp into the size comparisons part of this review, and straight away I'll give you a comparison with those Hermes Sentinels right here. This is me and my son. These Hermes Sentinels are what, probably just taller than half the height of the heavy Sentinel. They definitely share quite a few aesthetics. You know, the feet are very similar. The legs and the knees. Interesting that there's like no armor on these pistons, which is, yeah, definitely an oversight, because there's armor on on these ones, but the whole thing is kind of encased. You know, you've got one small weapon there on these Sentinels, whereas this one you've got a big top weapon, and even the ordnance systems are pretty hefty too. You've got one kind of exhaust with this fuel tank or whatever it is. I'm sure it's a fuel tank. It's just very rudimentary. I can imagine an orc customizing this, well, customizing both of them. I'd love to see some orc conversions, you know, with these kits. You know, the pilot is, you know, has no protection from the top at all, is completely exposed from the rear, no armor whatsoever. Half of him you can see from the side as well, whereas, you know, this is the way to go with these Aethon Sentinels, because they're fully enclosed, you know, much more survivable, and have, you know, bigger, heavier weapons. But yeah, that's the size next to the Hermes. Next to like a tank, so I've got a Lehman Russ assault tank. These Aethon Sentinels do hold their own near tanks. They're pretty big. Are they the Contemptor? Are they Solar Auxilia's answer to Contemptor Dreadnoughts? Not really, because the weapon systems just aren't as good, I don't think. And Contemptors do have, you know, the big power claws or chain fists and things, you know, which makes them dangerous in close combat. And also, these heavy Aethon Sentinels don't really have a delivery method. You can't put them in drop pods and things. They're just like on the battlefield, plodding along. Compared to a Malcador heavy tank, it is again taller than a Malcador. So these are pretty substantial walkers. And then compared to sort of a troop, so I have a Volataris right here. Yeah, they're a fair bit taller than the Volataris, so they'll be, you know, one of your tallest models for Solar Auxilia. Compared to some Space Marines then, and we might as well kick off with a Contemptor right here. It's actually taller than a Contemptor, if you wanted to look at it that way. So yeah, in a way they are Solar Auxilia's answer to Contemptors in that way. Other Space Marines, of course, we have the old Mark III and the Mark IV, Mark VI and the new Mark III. So these things are going to be stomping about, taller than Space Marines. Just wanted to give you a comparison quickly with a Predator. so a fair bit taller than a Predator. And then the last comparisons I always like to make is just with some 40k miniatures. So here's a normal Space Marine standard. You've got Slide Marbo and a Primaris. So Primaris wise, Primaris is up to the knee, just past the knee, up to the thigh of one of these. So yeah, they're bigger than you'd expect, and you know, as a kit they were certainly more enjoyable than I expected as well. When I first saw them, I thought they were a bit dumpy looking. Yeah, I wasn't sure about the weapon systems on them, but yeah, they're a very pleasant surprise. Okay, this is my part of the review where I will go through all of the rules for the Aethon Heavy Sentinel. As I mentioned at the start of the video, you will not find the rules for this model in the Liber Imperium book that's been available for a good couple of years. Because it's a brand new unit, brand new model, you'll either find the rules for this unit in the Solar Auxilia Battle Group Instruction Manual or the Battle for Beta Garmin campaign book, which is a very nice campaign book, and if you've got any interest in Horus Heresy, I would advise you to pick it up because it's 200 pages and yeah, it's got nice lore in there as well as some new rules for Solar Auxilia and some of the new units. So the Solar Auxilia Aethon Heavy Sentinel Squadron is a heavy support choice and will cost you 70 points, which is only 5 points more than a Hermes Velataris Squadron at 65 points, but then again you do get two Velataris Sentinels for a little bit cheaper, but the weapons are, well, yeah, they've just got one weapon and they're way, and they're not even in the same league as this Heavy Sentinel, as the Aethon. So what are you getting for these 70 points then? Well, your stat line reads movement of 7 inches, weapon skill 3, ballistic skill 3, strength 6, toughness 6, 5 wounds, initiative 3, 2 attacks, leadership 8, and a save of 2+. How does that compare to the Hermes Velataris Squadron? Well, it's a little bit slower at 7 inches instead of 8. And funnily enough, the weapon skill and ballistic skill is worse. It's 3 instead of the 4. Maybe because the Velataris are kind of like the elites of the Solar Auxilia. But the strength is better at 6. The toughness is better. You're getting more than double wounds, you know, so in a way that's better because you're getting 5 wounds instead of the 2. Each for those. The initiative is the same, but you're getting 2 attacks. The leadership is better, and of course, more importantly, the save is better. So not only are you getting that toughness 6 with more wounds, you're also saving on a 2+, which makes a big difference with some of the weaponry that Space Marines or Mechanicum can field against your Solar Auxilia. The wargear, it simply says Aethon Heavy Sentinel, and the unit type is Cavalry Heavy Mechanized. Doesn't have any special rules. The Aethon Heavy Sentinel Squadron may take up to 2 additional Aethon Heavy Sentinels at 65 points each, so you are saving, you know, 5 points per Sentinel if you're increasing the unit size from 1. Any model may replace the Aethon Heavy Sentinel's multi-laser with one of the following: autocannon for 10 points, Volkite Culverin for 10, las cannon for 20, heavy incinerator for 15, or the most expensive choice, the melter lance for 25 points. It's worth noting that the rules in the instruction guide are wrong. In those rules, you're actually given the option of purchasing a grenade harness for 10 points, but there's no mention of the Volkite Culverin. So, of course, ignore the rules in the instruction guide because you don't actually get a grenade harness weapon part for the model, but you do get the Volkite Culverin. Any model may replace the Aethon Heavy Sentinel's Aethon missile battery with 4 Hunter Killer missiles at 20 points. That might be worth doing if you want that further range and higher strength and things. So the new weapons that they've introduced, so the Aethon missile battery is specific to this Aethon Heavy Sentinel. It is a range of 30 inches, it's a strength 4, AP 5, it's not the best there. It's assault 1, but it is large blast 5 inches, it's barrage, and it is twin linked. So that definitely helps offset the ballistic skill 3, and you're getting those big blast markers. The heavy incinerator is kind of like the heavy flamer. It's a template weapon, but it is strength 6 AP 4, so that's fantastic against like Mechanicum and other Solar Auxilia. It's assault 1 and torrent of 6 inches. So basically, you know, you measure 6 inches from the weapon, and then you use that flamer template, so it gives you an extra 6 inches range. The Melter Lance, again, new weapon for this unit. It's a range of 18 inches, so unfortunately it's quite a short range weapon. It is strength 8, but it is AP 1, heavy 1, armor bane. So that's nice, you know, I guess effective range of 25 inches, but you are plodding along, so you are plodding along and these things are big and they are a bit of a target. So most likely your opponent will have destroyed it with plasma or las cannon, you know, before it itself gets in range. Of course, the other weapons you can equip it with would be the autocannon, which gives you a whopping 48-inch range, strength 7, AP 4, heavy 2, rending of 6+. You can equip it, which mine currently is equipped with a Volkite Culverin, which interestingly enough isn't in the Liber Imperium book. You'll have to pick up the Liber Astartes army book for the Volkite rules. The Volkite Culverin is a 45-inch range, strength 6, AP 5, heavy 5, deflag rate. So that's nice, you know, 45-inch range, and your good strength and nice number of shots. And yes, I think I've mentioned it in another video where you will need 3 different books, you know, for all of the rules to accommodate all the weapons for this unit. Moving on to the las cannon. Works as usual, very solid choice. It's a 48-inch range, strength 9, AP 2, heavy 1, sunder. You can go for the heavy incinerator, as I mentioned earlier. You can go for the Melter Lance, which, as I mentioned earlier, or you instead of the Aethon missile battery, you can go for those hunter killer missiles. Now those hunter killer missiles are a very decent range, of 48-inch range. It's a strength 8, AP 3, heavy 1, one shot. So you know you've got 4, and you couple that up with a las cannon. You could potentially be firing off 5 48-inch range, you know, AP 3 weapons, which is great to potentially take out a Space Marine heavy support squad in one go. You've used all your hunter killer missiles though, doing that, and then you're only left with a walking, you know, las cannon. But the trade-off might be worth it. You know, 110 points there to wipe out a potential 150, 200 point unit, or maybe even a tank at some point. And that's it for the weapons. I think there definitely is a place for these heavy Sentinel squadrons. Certainly Solar Auxilia needed their kind of Contemptor Dreadnought equivalent. It's not quite an equivalent because it doesn't have the invulnerable save, it doesn't have the you know, excellent weapon skill, ballistic skill. I wish this thing had a ballistic skill 4, I really do. Maybe they can mass produce these so that they're not really that concerned about who pilots them, but considering you're putting kind of better marksmen in the Velataris Storm Sentinels, which can be, you know, way more, which are way more vulnerable. I would have liked to have seen Velataris just be piloting these and it have a weapon skill 3 but have a ballistic skill of 4. That would have really set it apart, you know, and help somewhat with the omission of a invulnerable save and you know, melee weapons. But I can also see the argument of why players would pick up a Leman Russ strike tank with a Vanquisher cannon over this, despite it being way more costly in points. Overall, decent kit, surpassed my expectations. Looking forward to building the next one. The weapons are all right, and it works well with the army. What do you guys think though? Please do put your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. Be good to hear from you. Thank you for watching. The Emperor protects.